Yes, I know I need a haircut. Get over it. Today we're talking about the iPhone 11 and how it's been as a phone since it was released at the end of September. In my first review, which is linked down below, I mentioned the iPhone 11 is the best choice for most people. How does this phone stack up after all this time? I'm Kevin the Tech Ninja, and let's talk about it. For the price, the iPhone 11 is still the best overall phone for most people. It's only 6.1 inches, which is just the perfect size. It's still one-handed friendly, and yet the screen is big enough to do a lot of things. Maybe you want to game or watch a movie. It is comfortable to do that at this screen size. In regards to screen, we all know it's not a high-resolution screen, nor is it OLED, but many people will most likely not notice that. But for me, and maybe for you too, over the course of using it and seeing more premium screens or even switching to a more premium phone, then you'll notice the screen just doesn't stack up to those phones. And that just really depends on the person. Can you deal with an inferior screen if you're paying less money? Or maybe you just need to go ahead and upgrade to the Pro because there is a difference in the screen. But as I'd mentioned just a few moments ago, that I don't think many people will notice that. So that is a person-to-person basis. The hardware is holding up pretty well at this point, as I'd expect. It hasn't been that long. And the aluminum siding is doing really well. I'm surprised about that. A lot of phones that has aluminum siding actually starts to scuff after a couple months of using the phone. Now I have dropped the phone a couple of times, so it's not a perfect build anymore, but it's not scuffed up as you would see with previous iPhones. So with it being an iPhone, there are tons of different accessories that you can use with it. I'm gonna link some of my favorite ones down below, and also my sponsor, Dbrand. Dbrand is one of the coolest accessories you can get for any phone. What it is, it's a skin that can change the way your phone looks, add a little bit of grip, add a little bit of texture, and you have a completely unique design that is 100% customized by you. Hit the link down below to Dbrand your device. In my previous video, I mentioned that iOS 13 is still pretty buggy, which lends itself to making the experience using the phone a little bit buggy as well, and not what you'd expect. iOS 13 has actually gotten better, but there are still some more bugs here and there. But beyond that, I really like iOS 13. Now, performance has been good as day one. Everything still runs great. Any game I play from the App Store, especially Apple Arcade, is just fantastic. And older iPhones don't start getting performance issues for at least a couple years. So this phone, in my opinion, is going to be great for at least a couple more years because performance is still rock solid. And historically, Apple phones have performed well. So the battery on board is around a 3100 milliamp, which on paper isn't super duper impressive, as more and more Android phones are pushing 4000 milliamp, and you're seeing 3500 as sort of like this little baseline. So it is a smaller battery overall, but software, screen size, screen tech, brightness all plays into battery life as well. And with that being said, this is an all-day battery life phone. As I head to bed, the phone is at around 30%, which is really good to me. So I consider that all-day battery life. So more and more people are using their phones as their only camera that they have, and thus cameras become a really big deal for a lot of people. I will say that since day one to now, the camera has actually gotten a lot better. Apple pushed out an update called Deep Fusion. And what that does, it helps with mid-light situations. So when you're in a normal setting, let's say you're at a restaurant where it's dark but it's not that dim, this thing called Deep Fusion kicks in and it brings up the shadows and it really punches in the color a lot. So you do get better images, especially when you're in a situation where normally it'd be a little washed out and maybe you'll lack some saturation. This actually finds a way to bring that detail back into an image. I still don't think the iPhone is the best camera when it comes to portraits or still shots, but I think as far as overall camera and flexibility, I think it is the best camera. So you do have the ultra wide angle lens and the standard, which is considered wide angle as well. And ultra wide just looks fun. It's just a fun camera to use and a great way to get perspective when you're, let's say you're looking at architecture or you're some landscape photos or anything like that. It just makes for something very, very cool. Is it gimmicky? Some could say it's gimmicky, but I do find myself switching over to that in a lot of situations, and I do find I get a really good picture. Now, of course, the ultra wide angle is very soft. It's not as sharp image. And also it doesn't have the night mode as well that just kicks in automatically. I mean, you can be sitting in a setting that is extremely dark, like in this picture right here. This was actually pretty dark. and you press the shutter button, and what it does is it makes you hold still, and then it starts taking the picture, and then it does a long exposure and it grabs that detail and just makes it a nice photo. Android has that feature too, but it doesn't kick in automatically. You have to go into a mode. This just kicks in, just makes it a lot easier for you to use. Video is fantastic. I've even used this phone in conjunction with my camera for YouTube, and no one has ever known or commented when I switched between the phone. I'm not saying it's good as my camera by any means, but I will say that you get really great footage out of these phones in the right scenario with software and optimization. The stabilization is fantastic as well, so you can walk with it and it still looks very, very good. I think for the video mode, it's iPhone, then it's everyone else right beneath it. And yeah, I'm just a huge fan of using video on an iPhone. I could talk on and on about this phone, but once again, it is the best phone for most people to buy if they want a great smartphone to use and they don't want to break the bank and spend $1,000. $700 is nothing to sneeze at, but when you break that down into payments, it's around 23 bucks a month, which makes it much more easier to swallow for so many people. So iPhones do retain value for a while, so if you do buy this phone, you could always resell it and not lose a ton of money, but you know if you buy this phone, it will last for several years as well. Anyways, guys, those are my thoughts and opinion of the iPhone 11 after so many months. Let me know what you think about the iPhone 11. If you've been rocking it for so many months, or you're still considering buying one because it's not that old of a phone. You can catch it mid-cycle. Anyways, guys, Kevin the Tech Ninja here. Have yourself a great day. I'll catch you guys later. And I'm about to get a haircut, okay? Sheesh.